Well, it just happened again. The middle-aged white liberal women are getting their whistles ready. This time in Maine, just moments ago, we have footage of the event. It's coming in, trickling in. We have several angles from it. We haven't yet seen any on-body footage yet, but I assume that will be released later. I don't know for sure, but this is another situation where somebody just doesn't follow the rules. Somebody chooses to not follow the rules. I don't know what's so hard about when somebody says, exit the vehicle, you exit the vehicle. Now, I understand why these people want to run. I'm not saying I support it. I'm just saying I understand kind of the human reaction to, facing the reality of having to go back to Guatemala or whatever the case may be or anything like that. I absolutely understand why they would want to do what they do. But when you're in this country, you have to follow its laws. That's the reality of it. And this particular situation this morning is just another situation, just like in Minnesota. We have a driver received a lead injection from ICE officers in Maine this morning after trying to mow down agents with his car. The individual, who's not been publicly identified, is no longer with us, in a town of Biddeford, after witnesses say he accelerated at agents in an intersection. That's an important thing to point out. I have some video of it too, so stick around. Witnesses on the scene, not law enforcement. Witnesses on the scene say that he accelerated at law enforcement. And once you do that, once you turn your vehicle into a weapon, then whatever they do to you after that, I don't care. This is very similar to the Walmart. Remember the Walmart was at in Mississippi a week or two ago, where a woman of the culture was allegedly stealing diapers. I'm sure she was, but I don't know if they've ever actually clarified that. Whether she was or wasn't didn't matter, because she used her vehicle as a weapon and her baby as a shield, by the way, and tried to mow down officers. And now the baby is no longer here. And it wasn't obviously the baby's fault. Footage circulating on social media showed the man laying by the side of the road as police and ICE provided aid and consoled each other. Several holes in the vehicle could be seen through the driver's side window. Details of the incident are still developing, and lawmakers have called for answers as to what the ICE agents were doing in the small town of Maine, or why the vehicle driver was targeted. Well, that's easy to do. They were there to get illegals, and the driver wasn't illegal. It's pretty obvious, right? I mean, we know how this is going to shake out. Maine House of Representatives don't really care, said a person lost their life. ICE was involved. Of course, immediately politicizing it. State police and public safety are now on the scene to gather details and would expect FBI to investigate as well. Why? Why does the FBI need to get involved in this? I mean, it's pretty clear what this individual was doing. They were trying to weaponize their vehicle against law enforcement, and it's pretty simple. Here's a simple life hack for you. Don't try to run over ICE agents in your vehicle, and you won't get deleted. That's it. Very simple. Witness Scott Lucas, 18, again, not law enforcement, told the Press Herald that he was driving through the intersection moments before the incident and saw a group of unmarked vehicles descend on another car. He said he saw ICE agents' uniforms confronting the driver of the vehicle seconds before an agent pulled his weapon and ordered the man to exit his car. Now, at this point, you exit the car. The car was instead put into drive and was trying to hit the ICE officer, the witness said. Scott said he heard ICE agents fire roughly 4 times. Biddeford police described the incident as a police incident and told CNN that there were no further threats to the public. Mary Hayes, a resident who lives near the scene, oh boy, here we go, told the Press Herald that she did not see the agent, but arrived in time to witness the guy laying around. There's already someone passed away down there. I mean, we live in Maine. We don't expect this to happen here. What have we come to? She added. Well, I mean, there are illegals in every state, like massive amounts of them. And I don't really understand why you think Maine would be immune to that. In fact, Maine is, probably one of those places where a lot of these individuals are brought in, definitely brought in there because that's what they want, right? Not in their neighborhoods, but in someone else's. I, of course, need to know all the answers here, some dork Democrat said. I'm deeply disturbed and angry by the news, a Maine Congresswoman said. Pingree said she wanted to know if the ICE agents were pursuing a migrant with a criminal record or if the incident was a routine traffic stop, but added, more than anything else, I want to know why you're in Maine. Well, to get illegals. This isn't rocket surgery, right? They were there to do their job. They were there to get illegals. I'm not sure why, what the question is. Every part I hear is about someone getting picked up who's here legally. Is going to be another one of those stories. Well, let's say this person was here legally. They still weaponize their vehicles against law enforcement. Witness statements corroborate that. And I've got video coming up of it, of at least some of it, not of the actual incident, but leading right up to it, which you can see exactly what's happening. Okay. The incident comes just days after an ICE agent, took out a Mexican immigrant during a traffic stop in Houston, which sparked mass protests. Again, I'm sure it wasn't just the officer walking up to the vehicle and taking them out. Scrutiny on ICE activity was also compounded by the incident of Alex Peretti and Renee Good in Minnesota last year, both of them who effed around and found out, in my opinion, by the way. The incident on Monday has quickly led to calls for protest, with social justice losers group Biddeford Saco for Racial Justice saying on Facebook they'll be holding a demonstration in a matter of hours. Folks are really upset, the group said. I imagine there will be more. Well, you say here, authorities say a person reportedly tried to run down ICE officers in Maine, prompting the agent to fire in self-defense. One person lost their lives, and it was the driver of that vehicle. All right, so this is kind of the aftermath. I'm not going to show the bag individual, but you can see here the white vehicle kind of boxed in here by the ICE vehicle. And I mean, again, the left saying, do we really need immigration enforcement in Biddeford effing Maine? Yeah, we need it in every city. Every city. Abolish ICE. If you see an ICE member, harass these people and let them know they're not welcome. They're welcome here. Here's a meme. So I just took you out in your car. Here's why. You aren't allowed to hit me with it. Again, here, ICE agent in Maine reportedly targeted in vehicle ramming attempt, resulting in self-defense. Here's local reports.
Officer behind me. We're on Hill Street. The officer is standing at the intersection with Bacon Street, turning cars away.
The officer on Bacon Street? I mean, come on, guys.
From the next street up, which is Pool Street, and we know that's closed. We're seeing several police cruisers up there with officers at both ends. I spoke to a neighbor who lives here on Hill Street, just a few houses down from this intersection. She told me she was woken up around 8 o'clock this morning by the sound of gunshots and then a lot of sirens and this heavy police presence. And we are hearing that ICE officers were involved in this shooting, but she told me she had not noticed an increased ICE presence or had not heard.
How do we, maybe this was just one guy that was high up on their list? We don't know. Now, again, if they're in this country illegally, they are de facto a criminal. This idea of, were they a criminal that hurt other people? That's what the left likes to say. Well, was he a criminal was he a illegal criminal who had then also assaulted other people? It doesn't matter. If they're here illegally, they are by definition a criminal. And we see here's some new footage coming out in real time as I'm recording this. New footage this morning, ICE involved self-defense in Biddeford, Maine. Again, seems to show some agent firing from the side of the departed's vehicle. This is a pattern, folks. So here's the narrative beginning already. You see this car, the car is turning around here, driving in circles because they don't really know what to do. And what this video falsely claims is that they fired into the side window, which in fact did not happen. This is just the beginning of it. They cut off the important context because the left is not concerned with the context. In fact, if you look at the vehicle right here, you can see the holes in the front windshield. 1, 2, at least 3, maybe 4 in the front of the car. So they did not fire from the front or from the side of the vehicle. They fired from the front. It's unlikely that while on the side of the vehicle, they then reached all the way around the front to the windshield and fired in. The narrative has already begun. And we see more video here. You can see the vehicle very clear. You can see at least one entry hole here in the top, one here dead set right on the driver's head, one at the bottom here near the dashboard, and possibly one over here to the left. It's hard to say exactly. But again, it is not on the side of the vehicle. It is in front of the vehicle.
Today is July 13th.
And here we go with the liberal women.
ICE murdered someone in the streets.
ICE murdered somebody. That's, I assume, the shooter, the guy that was defending himself. Yeah, I'm guessing. Now, look, if I mean, you can see very clearly, first of all, that the holes are in the front of the vehicle. You can also see very clearly that they were driving around. They were resisting. They were driving around with officers already stopping them. Stop the car. You can hear him yell. You see this officer has his hand on the door handle and he's still driving. It looks like there was some collision, some front end damage here on the vehicle. I can't be totally sure. It could just be the way it looks. So at no point in that clip does it show the actual incident. But that's not going to stop. Again, like I said, people online are already saying, well, they fired from the side. No, they didn't. You can see the holes. I mean, I guess there is a tiny likelihood that he fired from the side and exited the front window. It's possible, but I don't think so. Because if you fire from the side, it would probably be exiting the other side. To be exiting on that trajectory, they would either have to be firing from the rear of the vehicle, which again is possible, but I didn't see any damage on the rear of the vehicle, or they were in the front of the vehicle. Now, were they driving at a slow rate of speed? Could the officer have gotten out of the way? These are not questions that we actually have to answer. They told you to stop. You kept driving. They were in front of your vehicle. You kept driving. You were dragging at least one of them along the side of the vehicle as they were trying to open the door. Whatever happens after that is irrelevant. I don't care if you were driving 1 mile an hour and the officer screamed out, "He's coming right for me." You have to stop. You can't use your vehicle as a weapon. Now, if it turns out, hey, this is some, an elderly person that was confused or something like that, okay, maybe we can talk about that. I don't know. To me, we're going to have people, Democrats incite this. They always want more people to paint as martyrs. These ICE thugs pull the trigger at any given chance. Is that really true? Is that really true? Because this has happened maybe 4 or 5 times in the last year. And at least twice, it wasn't even the person who was getting pursued. It was agitators at the scene. There's at least 2 that I know of. Maybe there's at least 3 that I know of that were, immigrants who were, how do I say, like on the run, But, they're already organizing in the streets. I expect it's going to be a long night with all the rich, middle-class, white liberal women in Maine. As far as I can see, from whatever evidence that I've seen so far, ICE acted completely lawfully. If some piece of evidence comes out down the road that says, hey, maybe they didn't, okay, well, we'll take a look at that, but it doesn't look like it to me. It's very simple. Just don't try to run down cops. Pretty easy.